But what we do with antibiotics, because we give the wrong doses of antibiotics to people, or we give the right doses, but people end up dosing themselves incorrectly because they don't take a full prescription, or because we give antibiotics to healthy farm animals. What we do in all those situations is we set up a sort of Darwinian battleground within the body of the human or the animal who's getting the antibiotics, in which the weak, susceptible bacteria are knocked out by the drug, but the strong survive.
And it unfortunately occurs more rapidly than you might think. Because they go so quickly as a community of organisms, if there's a way to become resistant, they can find it.
About 3/4 of the way through my fellowship, we began to see just an explosion of highly resistant infections, and that was concordant with it happening all over the country and the world. There's nothing unique about our setting. And I remember the first patient that I took care of who had an untreatable infection, could not be treated. And it was a woman in her 20s who had 2 small kids, who had leukemia. Sorry. And she developed an infection in her blood by Acinetobacter. So we started treating it with the drug that we had left at the time, which was a drug called imipenem. That was the big gun. That was the last ditch. And she looked like she was getting better at first, but then the infection came back and it was resistant to the imipenem. It developed resistance in the middle of a course of therapy. And when it came back, I have this just vivid recollection of looking at the computer screen. And you see a printout on the computer screen of all the antibiotics that the bacteria is resistant to. Resistant, 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 resistant. And there was nothing. It was resistant to everything. And I couldn't fathom how in the 21st century, an infectious disease specialist would run out of stuff. I mean, this is, since penicillin, we've expected that we're going to have relatively inexpensive, safe, tremendously effective drugs to treat infections. And this woman had returned to 1935. She had returned to the pre-antibiotic era. And she died. And there was nothing to do.